वनक्कम, मैं हैदर अली सैयद आसिफगम से यूनाइटेड अंडर तमिल सेवा.
Okay, prior to that, let me finish the Greek. Alexander, worldwide known as the greatest warrior, greatest Greek warrior, they say. The truth is, he is from Macedonia. He is not from one of those Greek islands. Macedonia was never in history considered as a Greek segment. The Greek islands were more of a confederate. Every island, people administered themselves, and it's a in question of need, then they unite. Then they were not identified as Greek islands, as the books say. They were identified individually, not the linguistic location. The reason why Alexandria is known as Greek is because by the time Greek evolved as a lingua franca, so Greek was used. So they all became Greek. Macedonian is known as a Greek because of the language. So then comes the Romans. When we speak about Pontius, the Pontians supposed to be sea people, it has nothing to do with Romans because of their location. If you look into the Roman history, the way that Rome was founded by Remus and Romulus, it is only a handful of people in hundreds. But we say that when we speak about world history, Romans went to Egypt, Romans did here, Roman went to England, Roman went all over Europe. And how come they were populated so much? Wow. So even China has to compete with them for that. It's a very simple thing. The small group, wherever they went, to the elite people, wherever they win a war, obviously there would be somebody to be friendly with them, right? To be associated with them, to do trading, living lifestyle. So they gave the citizenship. So the Romans were happily offering citizenship, like America, maybe I should say. So you can find a Jew, a Roman. St. Paul is a Roman. A Roman can be anybody. A Roman can be an Arab. A Roman can be a Jew. A Roman can be from Ethiopia. A Roman can be from my land. A Roman can be anybody as long as he has what it takes to be a Roman. So they start, whatever they did under the banner of Roman. So people have no clue who actually did what, whether their own people killed them or other person killed them. They have no clue. I think people need to know that. And why, meanwhile, that is on the world till today that happily reading about Greeks, reading about Roman, reading about everyone in the world, they ignore one segment. I belong to that segment happily. We happen to be one of the oldest linguistic group living on earth, still speaking the language known as Tamils. We have books based on philosophy, science, about everything, which is much older than actually Bible compilation. 3,000-year-old books are there. Till today we speak, till even a 12-year-old boy, if I ask him a verse which was written 3,000 years ago, he will say at least one. The infamous verses from a poet from my region, it was written 2,000, approximately 800 to 3,000. That's which is Yadum Ure Yavaram Kedir, which means world is ours, everyone or our kith and kin. Our books does not talk about darkness. Our book does not talk about devils. Our books does not talk about discrimination. It talks about unity. It talks about each of us are so unique. How can someone glorify one another or discriminate one another? Because each of us are like the raindrops, like how rain falls on one drop falls on a leaf, one falls on a mountain stone. and everything like mixed in a stream and like comes as a sweet river, which flourishes the earth. So in that way, the society is built on that. It's how can you discriminate somebody? This was written by our poet, which is about 200 kilometers. He lived 200 kilometers from my native place. So this is what our thing talks. So in our linguistic history, there is a lineage of our oldest kings. We have stories exactly like the Atlantis. We have stories about submerged landscape, not once, 3 times, because our present day native place, it is actually the third capital of our Tamil. The first capital once by deluge it went, second capital went, and third one what we have now. And in our ethnic is known as Pondian ethnic. I live in south of India. So because we are known as Pondians and we have dynasty one are supposed to be the longest dynasty ever lived, and our kings lived among people, not lived away from people and made them slaves. They lived among people because he is one of us. Our dynasty ended in 14th century. Our Pondians are known worldwide. You'll find many of the oldest documents from Romans, Greek, and everyone. In fact, Vasco da Gama and Yuan Shuang, everybody was searching for our land. And the most intelligent guy ever lived on earth, Mr. Christopher Columbus, actually looking for our land and found a newfound land. He wasn't intent to find a new land. He was trying to find a new seaway to our land, our port. That's why he landed up and he thought like, they all Indians and he named them Indians. That's a funny thing though. So it happened. Since I belong to the Pandya dynasty somewhere, and because we all Pandyas, billions of us, who were traditionally live here in this part of this Indian continent, are known as Pandyas. Normally, we call each other actually Pandyas. Other people call us Pandyas actually. If they don't know my name, then they can casually say that, hey, Pandya, please help me, please do this. Pandya, no, something like that. They address us as Pandya. It is a very normal activity here. So that's why I'm so curious about pantheons, Pontius and Pontius.
வணக்கம். Thank you.